It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Zach Buchwald. Zach is chairman and CEO of Russell Investments. Russell is a global firm with over $400 billion in assets under management. But it was started in Tacoma in 1936 and has deep roots in our community. It is a local firm. Like Russell, Zach is committed to serving our community. He often speaks to others on achieving financial security in retirement, is a member of Challenge Seattle, a group of business leaders committed to solving some of society's biggest challenges. He's a member of the Foster Advisory Board and often speaks to our students in class or at clubs. Zach's accomplishments are impressive, but it's not why I asked Zach to speak to you today. I asked him to be our keynote speaker because I know Zach cares about how results are obtained. I know he cares deeply for the people behind those results. I think this will shine through in the comments he's about to share with you. Please join me in welcoming Zach Buchwald.
Hello, graduates. Hello, families. As Dean Hodge said, I lead a company called Russell Investments, and we are a 90-year-old company, and we were founded on a cobblestone street in Tacoma. And our main job is helping people save and invest for retirement. We have a mission at Russell, and it's about financial security and helping more people achieve financial security. Some of those 500,000 odd graduates from UW work at Russell. It's by far our largest contingent, and I hope some of you graduates will someday think about coming to work at Russell as well. But I'm not here to recruit for you today. I am here to celebrate you and to celebrate your accomplishments. You should all feel very, very proud. I am proud for you. I spend a lot of time hiring people at Russell, and I know that when someone has earned their MBA while working full-time, I know you're smart, I know you're committed, and I know you're very good at juggling a whole lot of things at one time. You know, for the last couple of years, you've had multiple full-time jobs, your actual job, your school, and probably being tired all the time. You did this while you were managing careers, managing families, other responsibilities, making trade-offs every single day. You did your MBA the hard way, but you also did it the best way. Because you got to take all that experience, that real-world experience, bring it right into the classroom, learn more, pressure test it, and then bring it right back into your day-to-day work on the job. There's not many experiences that give you that, nor are there many experiences that ask so much from you at the same time. I want to thank Dean Hodge for inviting me here today and for that very beautiful introduction. I asked Dean Hodge if he had any advice before I started drafting the speech, and he put on his serious face and he said, "Zach, keep it short," which I will. And for those of you keeping me honest, I'm going to tell you 4 things today that I've learned in my career and that I hope will help you as you begin the next phase of yours. The first is this: do not fight change. The world around you will continue to change in some ways that you might expect, in some ways that will completely blindside you. Now, everyone thinks change is a wonderful thing right up until it's their turn to change. Do not fight change, because in the long run, change will always win that fight. Speaking of change, how much has the world changed while you all have been up here earning your MBAs? A lot. Now, I wasn't even going to mention AI because I've seen all those other good people get booed off the stage. It's going to transform everything, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get booed. But I will tell you this. When I was graduating, the thing that was going to change everything was the internet. Well, I mean, it did and it didn't. It made us faster, it made us more connected, it made it a lot easier to get information, but I'm still doing this job helping people save for their retirement, just like my predecessors did back before there was no internet. I still go home and help my kids with their homework, just like my parents did with me back when there was no internet. There will always be new versions of change. Within financial services, we've had waves of change with spreadsheets and Bloomberg terminals, the internet, obviously, email, online trading, AI. We're still here doing our jobs. The people who succeed the most are the ones who embrace the change by growing alongside it. And that brings me to my second piece of advice. Hold on to the human side of this great experience you've had here at Foster. You've gained all these skills, you've learned a lot, you've honed your ability to take in all this information and make it useful. Your emotional intelligence is going to help you in a world that is driven more and more by technology. Because for all the things that technology might change, it will never change the value of your judgment, and also of the judgment of the people around you. These folks that you surround yourself with, by the way, you should pick them well. They're going to challenge your assumptions, they will open doors for you, they will carry you through different phases of your career and of your life. It's people, not computers, that will help you see things about yourself that you can't see on your own. These people will challenge you, they'll inspire you. And a lot of this will happen from your peers, by the way, the people sitting right next to you today. So don't just look upward at the company where you're working, look sideways. Your classmates are going to be some of the very best sounding boards for the rest of your careers. Now, I want to tell you a story about a very human piece of feedback that I once received at work. And I'm going to warn you in advance that human doesn't always mean nice. It means human, for all the complexity of the human experience. So I was about 30 years old, and I was working at Morgan Stanley. I was doing well, and as part of my annual review, my boss at the time, she said to me, "Zach, you can really smell the money." And listen, she meant it as a compliment, but I walked out of that room sick to my stomach. I asked myself, is this how I want to be known? My legacy is that I can smell the money. And by the way, this is around the time when the financial crisis was starting, and it became clear that, that many of these companies, they were doing things that were really, not good for this country. And this was the industry I worked in, that I was proud to work in, and it was losing its luster. So I didn't know it at the time, but that was actually my big career moment, where I asked myself, what kind of work do I want to do for the rest of my life? What do I want my impact to be? And I changed everything. My job, my company, the purpose of my work. I took a skill set that had served me well at Morgan Stanley, and I went to a different company where I created a role where I could fix some of the problems that were created by the financial crisis, because I wanted to be part of the solution. And that experience, it put me on a path where I made retirement security the focus of my entire career. I can trace everything I've done over the last 20 years back to that moment. Class, at some point, that moment will come for you, where you try to see things more clearly and you ask yourself, am I doing what I wanted to do with my life? And what do I want my career to stand for? And that brings me to my third piece of advice for you. Your real professional currency is your integrity. As you all leave here with your MBAs, you're getting something else too, not just the diploma. You are getting a reaffirmation of your integrity. You invested, enormous amounts of time, energy, and yes, money to earn this degree, but there is no price that you can put on your integrity. Nobody can buy it, nobody can take it away from you unless you let them. And I'm going to tell you, integrity is easy when things are easy. It gets much harder when it gets tested. And that's why the pride that you feel today as you graduate should not be fleeting, because you need to remember what pride feels like so you'll recognize it when you're not being celebrated. Now, throughout your life, you will be asked to make decisions just like what Dean Hodge was saying, that involve compromise, where the choices aren't easy. Sometimes there will be no good answer. You're going to have to get through these moments in a way that lets you hold your head up high, where you can be proud of yourself and the decisions that you made, even though they weren't easy. Because people will remember these things. They're going to remember whether they trusted you, whether you kept your promises, and how you treated them when things got hard. That's what your reputation comes from. Do people trust you? Do you keep your promises? How do you behave when things get hard? And of course, this applies not only to your professional life, it applies especially to your personal life. So this brings me to my last piece of advice for you. Take care of the life that is waiting for you at the end of the workday. I have an executive coach who helps me at Russell, and what we talk about changes from week to week. But there's one question that he asks me often. He asks me, Zach, how is your marriage? Now, it's a very profound question. He's not asking how's your husband or your wife or how's your family. He's asking about the institution of our marriage. Am I putting the care into it? He asks me that because he believes that everything else is diminished if I'm not nurturing my life outside of Russell Investments. And the longer I'm doing this job, the more I realize this is the most important thing. Now, back in 2008, when the financial crisis was taking hold, I had some very hard moments at work. And on one of those hard days, I came home from work early, and my partner had rented a tandem bike for us. That's a bicycle built for two people. And we rode together all the way up through Central Park to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And we spent the afternoon in the sculpture garden, and then we ate tacos and drank margaritas. And on that day, as hard as everything was at the office, I came home and I felt really loved. I knew that everything would be okay. The people and the parts of your life that are waiting for you at the end of the day, including the you that you come home to, these are not a side project. These are the project. And if you get this project right, the other things have a way of falling into place. Class, what I'm really telling you with this advice is that a successful life and a fulfilling life are not always the exact same thing. If you think about your experience here at Foster, you've probably felt some of that tension. You were working hard on this degree, building a bigger future for yourselves, but you had to hold on to all those other parts of your life that make that future worth having. There were probably moments where you didn't feel particularly fulfilled or particularly successful. And as you head out of this program, with all those experiences, good and bad, remember there will be more moments like that. Success and fulfillment might not always be the same thing. But from where you sit today, you have all the tools to build a career and a life that gives you both. One that's true to who you are and true to the people around you. One that makes you proud of what you achieve and also who you become in the process. Class of 2026, I wish all of you success. I wish all of you fulfillment. I'm going to be rooting for all of you. Congratulations. I will see you out there in the world.